First tonight, we're following breaking news. We got an update. An unnamed source with Dayton police telling us these two men are suspects in the deadly shooting of Isabella Zamora Carlos. Antoine Benson is booked on a charge of having weapons while under disability. Javon Carner is booked on a murder charge. They were both arrested by a homicide detective this morning. Now, you will remember this case. 12-year-old Isabella was shot and killed while she slept in bed on West Fairview Avenue last Friday morning. Both are due in court tomorrow, both of those suspects tomorrow afternoon. We expect to get more information from Dayton police as well tomorrow. We will be there. We will get you all that information and we'll update you on air and online, where this article is published right now at Dayton247now.com.
Our other big story tonight, another hot day here in the Miami Valley. So
we're no longer under that heat advisory tonight, but it is ridiculously hot. So a live look outside from our Eco Plumber Sky Cam over downtown Dayton. Our area is seeing temperatures above 90 degrees all day long.
Now that heat isn't going anywhere just yet, in fact. So we want to send it right over to Chief Meteorologist Natalie Walters. And Natalie, just how much longer are we going to have to suffer?
Well, we are looking at more heat, more humidity pretty much for the rest of this week. So it is looking pretty hot. So if you have outdoor plans tomorrow, Friday, plan accordingly, because although we're not under a heat advisory, we still have heat indices potentially climbing to around 100 degrees. We got thunderstorms mainly south of us today. Those have weakened. We got clouds around, some peaks of some clear sky, but for the most part, it is slightly cooler even compared to this time yesterday. 77 in Dayton, 78 in Troy. We actually had a front that made its way southward. Most of us sitting a little bit cooler, 6 degrees cooler in Dayton. Some spots, as you can see, mainly to the south, sitting just slightly warmer than we were this time yesterday. But taking a look at our hourly forecast, 70s tomorrow morning. Tomorrow still hot. We're still looking at 90s. Again, not a heat advisory, but still very hot. I'm going to talk about how much longer this will last and when we'll cool off coming up.
And if you do need a place to cool down this week, the city of Dayton is using its 3 recreation centers as cooling centers from 6 in the morning till 9 p.m. through Friday.
Lightheadedness. Now you mix this medication with the amount of alcohol that was in his blood, and it is just an absolutely dangerous situation.
Police are still investigating if Atkinson was prescribed this medication or not. Now, he remains in the Montgomery County Jail on 9 charges, including aggravated vehicular assault, OVI, and child endangerment. More charges are now pending after these toxicology reports. He'll be back in court tomorrow for a scheduling conference.
We now know what led up to a SWAT standoff on Trenton Street. Dayton police say they received a call just before 9 o'clock last night, saying the suspect went to their neighbor's house and fired multiple shots into the home, all over a $20 debt. One person was shot, but thankfully their injuries were minor. Police tell us the suspect then barricaded himself back in his apartment leading up to that SWAT standoff, which happened just around 11 o'clock.
This is a person who for whatever reason decided to use violence to settle this debt and settle this problem. And ultimately it led to, again, a lot of police resources. It led to potentially a person dying or could have died from this senseless violence.
Detectives are still working on what charges to present to the Montgomery County Prosecutor's Office, but we are told it'll likely focus on felonious assault and aggravated assault charges. And we do now know tonight that this man you see here behind me has now been charged in Monday's stabbing and gratis. The Preble County Sheriff's Office says 45-year-old David Daniels has been charged with attempt to commit murder, felonious assault, and domestic violence. The stabbing happened Monday before noon on Parish Drive. The 45-year-old woman was flown by care flight to the hospital, where she is still in serious condition tonight. We also know that Daniels and the victim have lived together now for years and shared children together. Daniels has 7 previous domestic violence convictions. His bond has been set at $500,000.
Got a live look at our roadways now. Things have been much quieter there today, thankfully, but it was a deadly weekend on Miami Valley roads. 3 deadly crashes in just 48 hours. Lydia Bice brings us the warnings from police.
I'm told the crashes happened either from distracted driving or overcorrection, both fairly common on our roadways, according to investigators. Now, that first crash happened in Riverside, where a man was killed on Troy Pike on Saturday. The second happened Sunday near Frederick Pike and Rivers Edge Boulevard in Dayton, when a car went off the road, then overcorrected, coming back onto the roadway, hitting another car head on. And the car that was hit head on was Brittany Shanks, who died on scene, and 3 kids who were all hospitalized with serious but not life-threatening injuries. The third was also on Sunday in Jefferson Township. A Mercedes-Benz went left of center on State Route 4 and hit a Cadillac, taking the life of a nurse at Grandview Hospital who had just gotten off work. To prevent these tragedies from happening, police have several warnings.
Some of the most common reasons are just like I talked about: tire blowouts, wet roads in the wintertime, icy roads, and then your car going off either to the left or to the right. But we want to just tell people, when this happens, do not immediately steer back onto the road in a rapid and fast manner.
Now, there's also the issue of distracted or impaired driving, so put your phone down and call an Uber if you've been drinking. Back to you.
Now, families who have lost a loved one to suicide now have some resources to help restore hope. It's all thanks to a new initiative coming to Montgomery County called Local Outreach to Suicide Survivors, also known as LOSS. Kasha Hancock caught up with the Montgomery County Prevention Coalition earlier today. So, Kasha, what can you tell us about the new program?
Elise, LOSS is a national initiative, and because of increasing numbers of suicide deaths, MCPC felt this was another great way to help those dealing with the tragedy.
Last year was our record year for suicide deaths in the county. We had 101 deaths.
Colleen Oakes, manager for the Montgomery County Prevention Coalition, tells me that's what prompted the team to bring LOSS to Montgomery County. And those local crews who are usually first to respond to the scene also helped make it happen.
We were hearing from our first responders that there was really a need for this follow-up for suicide deaths. So we have our awesome law enforcement and our coroner's office that's out there responding to these deaths.
Starting January 2025, whenever a suicide death takes place in Montgomery County, the Montgomery County Coroner's Office will notify LOSS, who will then send 2 volunteers to the scene of a suicide, providing support to the family who has been impacted.
High emotions, the sadness, the grief, but we can also provide individuals who understand what the grieving families are going through.
Tina Rezash-Rogel of the Montgomery County Adams Board tells me at least one of the volunteers sent to families has experienced a suicide death in their life, so they know how hard it can be to move forward.
Making sure that they have access to support groups, local mental health resources, and then supporting the families on anniversaries, birthdays, big dates that might hit particularly hard.
The volunteers will also help walk the family through funeral expenses. The Adams Board says they're glad to be working with several other organizations in bringing this program to Montgomery County, ready to help families in need.
It's an honor to serve the residents of our community, and it's certainly an honor for the LOSS team.
Now, there's a stakeholders meeting planned for September 12th, and Oakes tells me they're always looking for volunteers. If you're interested in getting involved with LOSS, you can visit the MCPC website, which I've linked to the web version of this story on Dayton247now.com. Back to you.
Kasha, thank you. Montgomery County Adams is taking the next steps to secure crisis services for the community. This morning, the board held an informational conference to discuss the wants and needs of the community before proposals are submitted to become crisis services providers in the area. Now, crisis services came to a stop back in May after RI International pulled out of the area. Providers have until September 30th to submit their applications.
We would love to be able to take proposals to our board in November so contracts can be awarded before the end of the year and crisis services can begin in the first quarter of 2025.
Now, service providers looking to apply can head to mcadamus.org. There you can also find support and treatment options if you are in need of services.
Local school districts, I should say, changing plans to make sure students can learn safely in the heat. Which area schools are shuttering for the rest of the week and the other events impacted.
Also, President Biden's student loan repayment plan will remain on hold. The next steps in the ongoing legal battle next.
Plus, I'm tracking that heat wave, how much longer it will last. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
The Sports Desk is sponsored.
Valley View local schools canceling school for the rest of the week, all because of this extreme heat. But they're not the only area school district closing school or releasing early. Eli Burgett explains why the cancellations are happening and which other districts are changing plans because of the weather.
Well, really, it all comes down to air conditioning. Schools that don't have AC are closing down for the day or releasing students early, one of which being Valley View. But even schools that have air conditioning are having to postpone or cancel certain outdoor events because it's just too hot.
It's pretty miserable in our buildings. Classroom temperatures, it's not unheard of to get triple digits on days like this. So as a precaution, we send them home a little early.
During this unbearable heat wave, local schools like Troy and Valley View without centralized air conditioning are struggling, causing them to cancel or let school out early. They say that their older buildings trap the heat inside the walls, making it too hot for students and staff to learn and teach safely. But even school districts who have air conditioning are having to cancel many outdoor athletic competitions for athlete safety. Despite current struggles with the heat, Troy and Valley View are making plans to update their facilities in the future. Valley View will move into new buildings with AC by the end of this year, and Troy is hoping to have new finished school buildings also with AC by the 2027-28 school year. Back to you.
Well, quieter weather now compared to the storms that were south of us earlier, I should say. Those are dissipating. We got some clouds around, can't rule out a shower or two, but the bulk of the precipitation has stayed south of our region. That's where the stronger storms remained as well. We do have a boundary pretty much settled right over the region. This is going to be the focus of some clouds, potentially a shower or two tomorrow, but it's not until our Friday we got a better shot at some rain and storms, mainly late into the day. So heading overnight, we'll see low temperatures dropping into the 70s. It's going to be warm, muggy. Again, spot shower possible, but most of us will be dry. By the afternoon, 90s in the forecast, right around 90 degrees, not quite as hot as we have been. Now heading into our Friday, mid-90s, and then also tracking the chance for a few showers, thunderstorms, especially late into the day. And overnight, we'll be tracking scattered rain and storms across the area. It could be a little bit earlier on into the evening, so we'll have to watch that because football Friday, perhaps a few storms will be around, and can't rule out a strong to severe storm. We have a level 1 threat for severe storm for the entirety of the Miami Valley. This is for our Friday, so we'll be monitoring that closely. And then more rain and storms on Saturday. That will keep highs in the 80s. Now, we're not really anticipating widespread rain by any means, but by next week, our high temperatures get back into the upper 70s.
After complaints and rule changes, we now know we're getting a debate between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump next month. There were issues over each candidate requesting changes when mics would be left on or turned off, but both sides have now agreed. The debate is set for September 10th.
We also now know tonight the gunman in the attempted assassination of former President Trump searched online for both him and President Biden, all for their events ahead of the attack. Now, the FBI also releasing these new photos of the weapon Thomas Matthew Crooks used to shoot at Trump during the rally in July. The FBI says Crooks did extensive planning and saw the rally as a, quote, target of opportunity. The agency has conducted nearly 1,000 interviews so far in the investigation, a motive not yet identified.
President Biden's student loan repayment plan will remain on hold for now. Supreme Court says it'll wait for a more in-depth decision from the appeals court overseeing the program's legal challenges. The SAVE plan aims to lower monthly payments and offer a faster path to loan cancellation. A lower court placed parts of the plan on hold to allow lawsuits from Republican-led states to play out. Biden introduced the plan last year after the Supreme Court shot down its student loan forgiveness program.
The Alzheimer's Association preparing for October's Dayton's Walk to end the disease. Why this event is crucial to finding a cure and how you can register next.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Take Dayton 24/7 Now News with
Ohio.
The fight against Alzheimer's is gaining momentum here in Dayton. The Alzheimer's Association Miami Valley chapter held an event today gearing up for October's Dayton Walk to End Alzheimer's. The purpose for the walk is to raise awareness and raise funds. Now, this year's goal is $480,000. That money will support research aimed at finding a cure for Alzheimer's, a disease that affects more than 236,000 Ohioans.
They can raise funds because to provide these services and to do research for treatments and all of that, we have to fundraise, and that's why we walk.
Now, the walk is Saturday, October 19th at 10 a.m. beginning at Day Air Ballpark, and you can register for the walk at act.alz.org.
It's week 2 of high school football in Ohio. Thursday night lights will feature Waynesville and Greenview. You'll hear from several seniors who are ready for tomorrow night in Jamestown. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Arby's is full of choice.
The Dayton 24/7 Now News app, brought to you by the Jeff Schmidt Auto Group.
Good evening, I'm Matt Digby. This is the Bob's Discount Furniture Sports Desk. Week 2 of Thursday Night Lights takes us to Jamestown as the Greenview Rams will host the Waynesville Spartans, a matchup between the Southwestern Buckeye League and the Ohio Heritage Conference. We'll preview both teams tonight, starting with the Spartans. They're ready to bounce back from a Week 1 loss to Clinton Massey, but this is a team that reached the Region 20 championship game in last year's playoffs, and many key contributors from that team are back for 2024. They say their experience from previous years has helped them for the overall season, especially their eagerness to get back in the win column.
We have a lot of seniors who played as sophomores, and this is our 3rd year, and we played under the Friday Night Lights many times. We played a Thursday Night Light game last year, so we're experienced in that category as well, and we're ready to play. It's good to get back with the guys and get out here, and we know the potential that we have.
We were taking week by week, game by game. No one thought we'd do what we did last year, and we have a lot of the same guys. We kept a lot, so I think we can repeat it very easily. There's some room for improvement, but we showed